Good Friday evening. It is September 11th, 2020. We have an update for you this afternoon or this evening. Tropical depression number 19 forms. It was an investigative area earlier, has organized enough to become a tropical depression, and eventually it's going to get a name. That next name on the list would be Sally. Now, if you were watching these videos, you know that we were talking about a tropical wave off the coast of Africa that was looking most likely of developing into Sally, but this wave has organized quicker and will likely beat it to the punch. 35-mile-per-hour winds right now with gusts up to 45 in the Bahamas, just off the southeast coast of Florida, already overspreading South Florida with some heavy rain squalls there. It is moving to the west-northwest rather slowly at 8 miles per hour, and as it moves over South Florida and eventually emerges into the Gulf of Mexico, we're going to see this intensify, and some indications are there that it could intensify rapidly as the overall conditions are very conducive for it to grow. Here's a look at the infrared imagery on this. Again, since the sun has gone down, we no longer have the visible satellite to look at, but certainly shows itself being a little bit more organized out there just within the last couple of hours. There are already tropical storm watches posted for the southeast coast of Florida, including Miami, and as we get a little bit farther out towards the west into the Gulf of Mexico as well, tropical storm watch means that tropical storm conditions are expected within the next 36 to 48 hours. When it gets upgraded to a warning, which it may likely be later today, that means it is now imminent that those tropical storm force winds as well as heavy rainfall will be on the way. Here's the official track as of 5 o'clock this evening from the National Hurricane Center. Again, once it exits the coast of Florida into the Gulf of Mexico, starts to strengthen, becomes a tropical storm. That next name would be Sally. As it moves off towards the west-northwest, it does strengthen by this point up to 65-mile-an-hour winds by the middle of the night, Monday morning, I should say, Sunday night into early Monday morning at 2 a.m. here, 65-mile-an-hour winds, getting up to 70-mile-per-hour winds. And in this part of the ocean, this part of the Gulf of Mexico, very warm sea surface temperatures, a lot of ocean heat content here, and the overall atmospheric profile would be conducive for this to maybe strengthen more so than what is being called for here. So we could very well see this up to a Category 1 hurricane as it moves its way off towards the west-northwest, potentially somewhere near New Orleans, over towards Biloxi, or even over towards Mobile Bay as we get towards Tuesday afternoon at around 2 p.m. If this was to track a little bit farther to the south, like some of the models are indicating here, that would put the rough side of the storm, again, to the right of that storm center based on its storm track, with the strongest winds and onshore flow would be all across the Gulf Coast region here. So that would not be a good scenario if it was to stay a little bit farther towards the south. We'll have to watch it closely. But the areas that should keep a very watchful eye on this system as it continues to evolve, it's pretty much the entire Louisiana coast, Mississippi, Alabama, and even towards the panhandle of Florida here over the next several days. Rainfall outlook right now, again, it's a little bit on the earlier side, but we're using the long range. A European model here shows soaking rains moving through much of south and central Florida here over the coming days, and then dependent on exactly where it tracks would determine where the heaviest of the rainfall is. But some areas right now with the latest models are already showing upwards of 5 to 7 to 9 to 10 inches of rainfall potentially there. Talking about the amount of heat energy that's available, ocean temperatures have recovered significantly since Marco and Laura moved through the Gulf a couple weeks ago. They're back up into the mid to upper 80s, so plenty of heat energy is there. We also have 2 other storms out there. I'll give you a quick update on those as of the 5 o'clock advisories from the Hurricane Center. Paulette, 65-mile-an-hour winds, gusts to hurricane force, and this is expected to strengthen significantly in the coming days. It has been warding off wind shear that's been hitting it for days now, and it's maintained its overall structure. That wind shear expected to go down and strengthening expected to go up to a Category 1 hurricane by Sunday morning, winds up to 80 miles per hour, and then as it approaches Bermuda here, it strengthens further up to a Category 2 hurricane with winds of 100 miles per hour. The potential is there for this to landfall over Bermuda, which overall is an extremely rare occurrence. If it doesn't make landfall, it's still pretty frequently there, as you know, Bermuda is in Hurricane Alley and gets impacted by hurricanes quite frequently, but up to 105 miles per hour there, takes a turn north and then northeast and jets out into the open North Atlantic there, away from any land masses. So let's take a quick look at Bermuda's hurricane history. Since 1851, impacts have been frequent. 59 storms coming within 50 miles of the capital of Bermuda. Landfalls are rare, though. As I mentioned, only 9 times has that happened. In one year, in 2014, they actually had 2 storms make landfall. That was Faye and Gonzalo. since 1851, plotted on the map. A lot of activity going on there. That's 59 named storms coming within 50 miles of the capital, Hamilton, Bermuda, since 1851. We also, I'm going to just very quickly talk about Renee here because you can see it's not very much going on. Last couple of images certainly looks healthier than it did the last 24 hours. Influx of some convection there. But the good news with this storm is as it moves out in time, it's going to move to the north, northwest, and then hit a ridge to the north that blocks it, and it kind of sits and meanders over this area for the coming days. Watching waves coming off the coast of Africa, too. One giant wave that could split into two entities. The one that moves to the north could have a 40% chance of developing, and then we have another one here, much greater chance. That's Invest 95L, 90% chance within 5 days. And if Sally gets the name with Tropical Depression number 19, this would be Teddy, as we refer to it. And here's how it looks on satellite imagery right now. Very broad rotation. It's got to contract a little bit, get that defined low before that defined center before we get any sort of depression or upgrade to a name system there. That's the latest update here on your Friday evening. If you have any questions, you can find me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, or on Twitter. Have a great weekend.